Absolutely. Well, good afternoon, Nichole. Always a pleasure to join you. This is an absolutely breathtaking sharing of information. I appreciated the dialogue among you, Brian, Marty, and if we just go back to what was shared by our law enforcement officers, agents, officials at local, state, and federal levels, it's just amazing what they have discovered. So first, let's just start with what we call data mining. Data mining is all about piecing a case together. So what really stood out here is we have burner cell phones, we have a car, we have the forensics of a hair. And even if we just start there, this alone is huge evidence. Now, you and I have discussed many high profile cases, and we've talked about DNA and how DNA doesn't lie. But if we could just in general talk about evidence, Nichole, with the viewers, evidence is considered the silent witness. It does not speak, yet it speaks volumes. And so it's not as though at the moment we have a singular item, let's call it, or a singular, whether it's circumstantial or tangible. But I think we now have just huge categories of what are excellent investigators have done here with their talents, their skills, their abilities. Putting it all together really just speaks to their devotion, their dedication, and to this individual. Yes, he's a suspect, but my goodness, it appears to me as though we have just a totality of evidence here that points right to him. Let's also speak to the searches. That's very important. When we take a look at individuals who fall into categories of murder, and we know there are many different categories of these individuals, but they too will keep up, just as you, Marty, and Brian mentioned, with the media. So I think the fact that our investigators were so cautious and prudent and conscientious about not revealing too much too soon really again speaks to their level of intellect.
Absolutely. So we know that DNA and cell phone data absolutely crucial to this case. I want to walk through some of that. When it comes to the cell phone data, we know that investigators had mapped out an area called the Box around his home and where all of these victims were found. They also managed to do that for an area in Midtown Manhattan where he had his offices because, again, he worked as an architect. They'd been looking at this cell phone data since 2012. They'd honed in on similarities. They know he had used multiple burner phones. For each individual victim, he had secured a burner phone. He used it to communicate with those victims. We also know that his Chevy Avalanche, a car with specific identifying information, was used in this. We know all of the victims were found in a similar area. They all worked as escorts. They were all bound in a similar way. They were all wrapped in a similar burlap that was camouflage, purposely trying to hide these bodies. We know that apparently the suspect had made more than 200 Google searches, things including compulsively searching for pictures of the victims families, of the victims' children, looking for searches on torture, on women specifically being attacked, raped, killed. We know that he was also searching to see what investigators were doing. He was trying to look into this task force. There's so much information that we were given between the DNA evidence and the cell phone evidence. Is there something that is more important, or are they all going to play an equal role?
I think the totality, Nichole, of what has been shared by the district attorney, the police commissioner, the members of this task force working endlessly to bring this case to closure. You know, sometimes when you and I talk about cases, depending upon where we are with the case, we may say, okay, we know that it's an A to Z process, and maybe we're at a D or an E level with some of the discussions. I think right here, right now, these investigators have taken us really, at least with the three victims identified and the fourth to be forthcoming, we would anticipate shortly. But this alone is huge, A to Z, really, with all that has been mentioned, with DNA, with the circumstantial, with the hair fiber, the car, the cell phones, the searches. And this right here, right now, again, how could it not be him? Now is the question. I don't think the question is it this individual? No, the question is, how could it not be, given all that has been disclosed and discovered? And it's just astonishing, and yet I still say breathtaking, that there is so much evidence that has been composed, compiled, gathered, that it can only be him.
Yeah, and Dr. Goodman, I have more questions to ask you. I want to talk about why the arrest now, what as far as the other victims, what this means, and also whether or not that DNA evidence could possibly not be the end-all, be-all. So, Dr. Goodman, we will check back in with you if you will hold there.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.